African girls don't like Jamaican.
No, like I keep hearing from. I've heard this.
Because Jamaican boys don't like African girls.
That is true. Wait, what do you know?
Welcome back to the Hotspot, and today we will be talking Africans versus Caribbeans. My first question is, do you feel that there is a cultural divide between Africans and Caribbeans?
I do now, bro. You just got
I don't want to say that. You said that right after dashing a pillow.
This is why.
By no seriousness.
Talk about kicking off.
I think yeah. Like I feel like with our generation, there's not as much as a gap. But definitely in like the older generations, like I was at a wedding and the family member of mine was like to me, if you marry an African man, I said, really? I was like, why? And they're like, you just can't trust them, but that's because of like the way they were raised, do you know what I mean? And like the divide between, I feel like there's like a distrust between the two. So like, and obviously it goes down to slavery and whatnot, and like there's a lot there, there's a lot of anger, and I feel like with our generation today, we're very vocal, so if we're not here for something, we'll talk about it, we'll speak on it. But it's, do you know what I mean? That's what I think.
I think there's still a divide. Not within our generation. There's still some sort. The divide is that it's been passed down onto us, but because we've grown up and lived with like Caribbeans and Africans have lived like with whatever. Yeah, because we've lived with each other basically. We've obviously seen that we're not much different as people. We're not different. As in, we're all black for a start. So on that level, we relate. But many of us obviously have parents who have come from Africa or come from the Caribbean. If not, they've been raised here, or it's just a thing that's been passed down onto them, and they've kind of pretty much passed it down to us as well, to an extent that some of these things we kind of. I don't know, we kind of see in like the Caribbeans, the same way the Caribbeans will probably view us in a certain light because of how our parents or our grandparents probably say the Africans, and so on and so on. But yeah, like you said, Rhyanna, like, it happens, like, I don't know, it's a bit, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship. That's kind of what it is. Within
I wouldn't say love hate. I would say within I would just hate, I'm not gonna lie. As in like not our generation, but ones before us. Like actual dislike.
No. Within the older generation, I'd say maybe. No, I mean I wouldn't say hate. I think that's a bit too strong. But within our generation, I'd say it's played way down. Like I'd say it's on the level where it's a love-hate thing. Not so much hate, but there's more love. But obviously we drop.
Generation, I think it's more of a joke.
That's what I'm saying. We drop banter amongst it. That's what I'm saying. It's a love-hate thing.
It's like we laugh at the older generations
when they do it. Exactly.
Yeah. So we look at it as kind of like a playful thing.
Yeah.
Even though there's a little bit of like a tiny element of realism to it, we kind of just mess around with it.
Yeah. I think it's banter that we don't fully understand and what it does. Because I feel like within this banter, there's a section of we're not you and you're not us. There's no unity. There's no we are all black together, so it's cool. Like I would love to do an event where it's like, we hold them jokes like down to like who has the best jollof, you know what I mean? Or is plantain, not plantain, and we taste the difference, you know what I mean? Obviously we all know it's plantain in it, but for some of you lot that feel you want to be extroverts, not even extroverts, just be extra in general and just go and add on certain letters that just okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
You see you see you, you're not one of us.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie.
You are not a sellout. You've been.
I just have a lot of friends that are African, and I say plantain, and I saw an argument for it, and I'm not gonna accept that.
You do it to fit in.
No, I do.
To fit in. Because you feel like if you don't accept it, you won't have friends.
No, you spot me in spirit.
Spot her in spirit. She spots you in real life.
She's accepting plantain. Bro, come on.
I understand. just like I say both depending on in which company I'm in. I do because if I'm with my Caribbean side.
So what your favorite?
Listen, leave me alone, yeah. It's just not how it is. But at the end of the day,
Adversaries
no,
of both
you say
war
what?
crimes. You see
Plantain,
them?
yeah, plantain, maintain, exactly. And see, look,
Mountain.
maintain,
Plantain.
I'm
No one's actually saying fountain.
Nouns and verbs.
I'm doing it. I'm laying up.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
There's no
Plantain. It's just because we're Caribbean, yeah.
No, you're a plant.
No, we
Well, no,
would say
that's because we've got. That's because we've got London accent. Even I swear, people like Manchester or Birmingham, I swear they say something like mountain. It sounds more like say plantain. Mountain. Even the mountain sounds like plantain. Come on.
What? Even the mountain sounds
No,
like
in like a northern accent.
You're hearing mountain.
In the northern accent.
In the northern accent,
Yes.
sounds like plantain.
Yes. Say it again.
Are you right?
Say it again.
What? Mountain?
No, you didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
Conversation go from actually real serious to mountain and plantain and plantain and plantain. I don't know. It's gone from
You lot can't hear the distinguished difference.
We for the friend, we for the from, okay? We for the free, we for the friend, okay? Let's just agree. Why Let's just be all
You lot are all lost.
Why are we lost?
in plantain, yes I am.
That's how you pronounce it. I don't think it's
No, like, it tastes good still. So that's it. That's all that matters.
How about we just conclude on
I
that?
don't
It
think
tastes
it's
good.
good. Say in England, say mobile. America say mobile, but they don't.
No, they say mobile.
But they don't really.
Mobile.
Yeah, but they don't really argue about it. It's not that deep. Same thing.
They can't spell colour.
They really can't. They really can't.
Difference with them and us, they are actually lazy. That's why they can't both do. And not all of them was actually educated when they was coming up with these words.
Wait for the comments.
Hit me up if you dare. And I'll teach you how to spell these words. Autocorrect can't save you, I'll cheer you. But anyway, no, we Jamaicans and Caribbeans. I feel
Jamaicans and Caribbean.
I feel like you shouldn't diss us. But what did I say? Fam, I'm so tired right now. In Africans and Caribbeans, the only problem that I had since I left secondary school, yeah, it was like all Africans wanted to be Caribbean. And then all of a sudden, Azonto come out, and now you lot are trying to just act like you didn't want to embrace us. And it's a thing where it's not even like you're like, yeah, you lot do your thing, but we're Africans. It's not even we're together. It's fam, who's Jamaican, bro? You're Jamaican. Where's your dad? All of this. Hey guys, relax.
Wait, hold on. I don't believe that. Yeah, when it comes to being Caribbean, when I basically,
Where are you from?
I'm from Ghana.
Okay, so we go.
So basically, in secondary school, yeah, basically, when I say, oh yeah, you Caribbeans are Africans, you lot don't admit that you're Africans. Technically, you come from us, but you try to separate yourselves and say, you know, you're not, and blah blah. And that's when you get those arguments. And
I think that comes down to the history and what's being taught, and I think that comes down to us teaching our children for the future to know where they actually come from. However, what I'm talking about, I can't dispute that. I can't back that up because I will actually embrace that. I'm African to people that say to me, where are you from? I say I'm Jamaican, Cuban, but my bloodline is African. My heritage is African. You get me? That's who I am. But on another note, I'm talking about when we was in school, Africans didn't. It was rare that they actually claimed they were African.
And the Africans on the panel.
I claim
No.
I definitely claim
I
that.
always did. No, I think it was back. I think it was back. I'd say primary school.
No,
so
I
that's
think
why
it was
I know
the way
it's
we
the
knew you were
predominant.
African. When the teacher said your surname, it was clear. However,
Secondary school, being fresh was a thing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Being fresh was a thing in secondary school, and that's why some Africans didn't want to be associated with African stuff. They didn't want to be called fresh. Being fresh was not seen as cool, or you know, the thing.
it's true.
Being
I feel
fresh
like
was.
Africans were first to not feel insecure about things, but I remember one time, yeah, I hopped a fence. The fence was like yay high.
Yeah.
I just hopped the fence. On a training for a sports day, the girl goes, "You're bush. Oh my gosh, you're so af." I said, "Wait, what?" Because I jumped a fence, I am af. I said, because I jumped a fence, I am bush. Please let me know how I jumped in a fence is bush, you know what I mean? It wasn't even a bush. It was, I jumped a fence. I said, what? So people can't jump without being bush? Like, that don't make sense.
It's all these little things as well that they associate with being af as well. Because I mean, I can tell you, like when I was in secondary school, I had a Nigerian accent. From year 7 to about year 9, like it was just strong. I got called fresh. I was af. Like them 3 years of my life, it was kind of peak. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like I couldn't hide or anything. Like, but obviously at that time, knowing that there was someone who was African, like obviously there were other people, like one of my other friends, they came, like they had strong ass like Nigerian and another girl who had the Ghanaian accent. Like, yo, being called fresh and af, like again, it's that thing that just was not the thing back then. And I feel like with other people not wanting to be associated with people who have the accent, I think that's probably what made some people like shy away from it or stuff like that. Yeah,
or even media though.
Even media, I think it's a thing of don't want to say the white man, but I'm going to say of the white man trying to strip us away from where we come from, as in us being raised in this country. And obviously that thing of when we go home or when we go back home, they say, oh, you're not African enough, look at this Oyinbo person who can't speak the language, Then when you come here, it's like, I don't know.
You're not Western.
We're not Western enough. Like,
so
we're
who
black. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel because we're obviously raised here, we tend to lean more on, oh, we know the British culture, we're London kids, but at the same time, it, like, when it comes to being like, as an African, when it comes to like, just bigging up that where you come from, I think that was the thing that people did not really want to hold on to it, especially like, yo, no offense to if this is your name or anything, like, I know with Nigerians, yeah, I see how you people like to like, I mean, ask you, but my first name's not my Nigerian name, but mate, it kind of annoys me when your full name is Ayomide, people call you Ayo, your name is Ayo, don't change things up, your name is Ayo, bro, just things like this, like, they try to change things up to sound more Western, to make it not even easier, just to make it sound not af.
It takes away from the meaning.
It takes it away from the meaning, like.
Oh, you're slightly losing yourself just to fit, so that's, yeah.
So what, how about Africans when their name is called John? Hi, my name's John.
I mean, my name's
I was
Déviniat.
baptized in the blood of Jesus.
Amen.
That's the name I received.
Amen.
Let me use it. Legit. That's all it is. It's a Bible name.
It's a Bible name.
It's your baptismal.
So you're named after a character.
No. Like from where in my church, in my culture, when you get baptized, you choose an English name. So or you're given it from birth. It just so happens some people's parents
We've got our African names kind of carry the same meaning. You got Oluwafemi, which means God loves me or anything. Like, exactly. We've got these names as well.
In your church, wait, hold on. In your church, when you're baptized, you give it a British name.
Kevin.
You pick a name that you like. My baptismal name.
This is like making slavery trendy. Go on, pick a name.
Biblical name is English.
I'm getting baptized, so now I must choose a British name. That's not white.
It depends on the culture as well, man.
What is your name?
No, it's not like I'm getting baptized.
No, it is Toby. Nah, mate.
It's not that I get baptized and I'm like, yeah, my name's Sebastian. Like, so they pick something from the old.
So why is it? I know some people, like when they get baptized, they get like a certificate or something that says now you've been baptized.
Yeah, I got a certificate.
This is not some Englishman graduation. Like, go on, you get a gift card as well with a name on it, yeah, for your British citizen card. Like, no.
It's like Catholics when they have to choose a name for their
confirmation.
Yeah, at confirmation when they have to choose a name for their saint. Like my cousin chose Saint Monica. She's Monica. My other cousin's Natasha. You take another name as you become the holy person. You take on a holy name.
Yeah.
Imagine, I'm never trying to start no wars. My mouth closed. Children.
It's really not nice. My baptismal name is the same as my English name because I couldn't think of anything. So.
That's what your mother and your father named you. Bam, that's why.
Yeah, but some people decide to go by the name of Paul, where your name is actually not Paul.
Right. Do you not have an issue with Jamaicans dancing to Afrobeats?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Wait, no, hold on.
Unless you say you don't claim it.
No. About are you sure? Consider like we're not representing the other man on the other side of the screen. Some of them might, hence why we will touch on as to why you might not like that. But mate, I ain't got a problem. And then like. Really, I still don't know why people have a
It's not that deep.
problem.
I just remember there was a time where it was like, oh, you're not.
But that's
I think
like us
young.
dancing to soca or something else. So why is there an issue?
Oh, we always allowed this to happen. We always allowed it. It was not a thing. We never told you you're not allowed to. It was. I remember growing up. There was times when it was like,
I think why.
Are you African? You can't was on toes.
No.
Yeah.
I think why that is because okay, obviously. Being after like the whole Afrobeat thing started to become a trend. Like let's say the year 11 time, which was year 2012, 13, 11 ish. So no, as in it's as in the UK. Afrobeat was going on back in Africa time, obviously.
Afrobeats has been popping.
No, obviously. I mean, we all know about the no one like you and the way they do me. We all know that one. That's what. But when it came here was around 2011 time when you heard.
Darling, are you okay?
Tell me.
2008, 2009. Where you came? 2009.
What song?
I think what she means is commercial.
Commercial. That's what I'm saying.
So when it's like
No, then why did it die down?
Because we didn't have internet and Instagram and all of this stuff.
No, it was still here. But us, no. Us, no. Okay, it was going on with us. No. It was going on amongst us. It was going on amongst us. That obviously we're at a time where this was not predominant in 2008. This was not predominant in 2008 times. Right now, it is 2017, and this Afrobeat thing has been going on strong since around 2011.
True.
Okay, that's
all I'm
anyway, but that's what the general public.
I get what you're saying.
It's been around.
I'm not saying it came about then.
I'm
not saying it came about then.
And everyone was like Burna Boy. But I'm not gonna lie, that man disappeared.
Yeah, because they went to America and flopped it.
It's the same.
So it wasn't strong then.
Like everyone knows, but I didn't know. It's like,
Exactly, it wasn't strong. That's what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is I disagree. Because in your group of people, it may have not been popular, but around everyone I was, Afrobeats has been popular from secondary school.
No, it was Funky House, and then after Funky House, you had Funky House skanks that were Afro skanks.
Yeah.
Afro skanks was popular, and then from Afro skanks, you had 1-2 tune that came in, and then it kind of died out, and then you like Burna Boy and them man vanished to America and whatever, and then from there, other tunes came in. Bashment became a thing again, and then from that now, you had House come back, where House kicked off again, and when House kicked off again, then you had Afro. Tell a lie.
Nice.
After when Afro Scans came, that's when you had your Suckle Day and all of that. Them man came and you had actual routines popping off. That's when you had like your man with the masks and that. Remember when them man used to do their thing?
Yeah.
Right, all of that. So Afro All Stars and all of that. You know what I mean? When you had your dancers, that's when they came. Then after a while, it was a thing where, right, you lot are still doing that, like Tectonic and all of that. Like, are you still going on?
Must have been a baby at this point.
Bashment. You know, Bashment came. I think Chief Keef happened. The drill movement happened. The Chicago rap happened. And then since then now, you've only had a Vybz Kartel went to prison. See what I'm saying? So, at that time, Bashment kind of fell apart. Like, not saying he was leading, innit? It was like, it's like Drake getting married for a bit and saying, yeah, I can't do this anymore. You're gonna just be like raw, like, because he's killing the scene. No, I tell you what, he may not be the best, yeah, but he's very much in the scene right now. You know what I mean? If he's carrying the torch, that's like someone that is the main person stepping away and just being like, yeah, that's like Kendrick putting the mic down, you know, and you know what I mean, him, J. Cole, all of them putting the mic down, and it's like, raw, people have just stopped. There's just gonna be an influx of something else that's come out of nowhere, innit? And that's kind of what we've got going on now. So that people ain't making music no more. Then you had your, you know, not what they call your mumble rappers. They've all come through. You get me?
Mumble rappers, lol.
You get what I'm saying? Offset come out of jail. Offset came back. Offset, Quavo. You know what I mean? Bad and bougie.
Anyway,
No,
back to
you look like a little bit.
back to that
You know what I mean?
question. Back to that question about why we don't, why some people don't. Anyway, so like I was saying, around that time, I think at that time people wanted to grasp onto that fact that they were African because Afrobeat was a thing, and obviously Fuse ODG saying, "Oh, I'm African. This is my music. This is how."
It's that disgrace.
Well,
I was just.
what?
Let me give you my point.
That's an insult
That do
to
you mean?
our entire existence as an
Yes.
African. That guy is not a pillar for Afrobeats one bit.
Yo.
I'm not dissing you, Fuse. Your tunes are catchy. Your tunes banged when I was young, but you are not a pillar for Afrobeats.
I would.
No, he's not.
I agree.
He's
She
not.
said he's a
That's
pillar.
No.
She said he's a pillar for people.
I didn't even say he's a pillar at all.
No, pillar.
I'm
She's saying that he is one for the forefront of people actually taking up like acknowledgement of Afrobeats for themselves as Africans and being like claiming it.
Honestly,
I'm just saying that.
he's making
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Making it for the commercial man.
Yeah,
like,
so that's what I mean.
everything.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's on the musical level, I'm not really with it. But in terms of this topic we're exploring, commercial breakout for Afrobeat, I'd say him and D'banj when he came out with Oliver. I think that was the turning point because D'banj.
How long Oliver keep me for? It's okay.
In the Western world, come on, it came out.
I'm not gonna
These
say,
things,
you
you
still hear
know, these
that.
things are always gonna come out late. In Africa, they will be doing bits, but you know it's always
No,
gonna
I'm
come
saying
late.
here.
That's what I
The
mean.
separation between the two is a lot.
Well, between D'banj and
Between
Fuse,
Fuse and
I was just about to
when
say
they
that.
came out. It's a lot.
D'banj went in. That was very.
That
When
was
the band was out, the
Yeah.
band was
When-
out, and
Yeah.
the band was alone.
exactly, he was alone in that
So
bit.
it's not
Like-
the two
No,
together.
I'm not saying it's a two. I'm saying that for D'banj when he brought out that song, that was the pilot. But then after a while, that's when Fuse ODG came with, what was it, Azonto? Was that one?
Antenna.
It was Antenna. Yeah.
I got a question for you, look, because right now it's just sounding like we're talking about African music.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that may merge us both together. Check this. How do you lot feel about artists merging the two, like dancehall,
I
reggae,
love it.
Afrobeat, and like Afrobeats together? Because one person that done it and I loved it, and since then I've loved it, was Burna Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
When I heard then sing-a-ling-a-ling. My godmother was like, yeah, he's Nigerian, you know. I was like, wait, you're lying. Not what I heard, that weren't Nigerian. But that's the thing, I like how it was the twist of the two, and I'd like to see more collaboration,
Yeah.
to
Definitely.
be honest.
100%.
'Cause I
I think
think-
like that's where music is going now.
Yeah.
The two are fusing,
Yes.
and everyone's here for it. Because back in the day, it used to be everyone hated Afrobeats because you couldn't dance or you couldn't whine to it.
Yeah.
But now everyone's fusing the whole bashment vibes into it, so you can wind up your waistline a little
Carnival
bit.
vibe.
You can feel, carnival.
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
feel it up.
yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm all the way here for it.
All I say is, guys, can we stick together on this one? Nobody bothered to take money from the commercial world and just disappear with the tracks. You know what I'm saying? Still don't understand why Popcorn's not on views, but you know, still don't understand.
Popcorn went crazy at Vicky.
At what?
That award show. I started dissing out Drake.
Where?
Popcorn went mad. Well, he's not mad. But he went on a mad one, and everyone was just like, "Where did this come from?"
I know why, because you wanted to cut him out of the album and he found out. But then what happened is you cut that settlement check, and that's why at culture class, Popcorn was like, Tefeke go suck your mother, when he said, why are you not on the Drake album?
Yeah.
And then from there he was like, big up Drake, and then Drake was on Mixed Packs. What's the thing that they got? What's it called? Not the jingle, really. What's that thing they have when they're sending for someone else? Dub plates.
Yeah.
He was on, was on Mixed Packs dub plate, and Popcorn was representing for Mixed Pack.
It's like it's not going through, mate. And before the time, labels like album has to come out. Drake's like, Popcorn ain't sent it. Too bad. Popcorn not on the album. Boy, it's a sad day.
No, it's nice to see some collabs still.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For reals. I want to know, No, they do get on, man. They do get on. Caribbean girls and African girls do get on.
Yeah.
It's
Improved.
every day.
I just want to know why African girls don't like Jamaican boys anymore.
I never said.
Okay, Sheena is
That's
the Sheena. That is not the truth for Sheena.
Wait, African girls don't like Jamaican.
No, like I keep hearing from. I've heard this.
Because Jamaican boys don't like African girls.
That is true.
I would have
Wait, what do you know?